So what did you mean when you were referring to stasis? Everything moving towards stasis.
An equilibrium, rather than the idea in cosmology and astrophysics and physics itself that we move from chaos to order, which is ultimate entropy, which everything is just balanced out and neutral. Instead of that, what if we didn't start out with chaos, we started out the other direction, where there was an, well, I don't want to say an order, because if it was in fact a singularity that brought us into existence, which again I dispute. But if it came from, then it's moving away from that order, not toward it. It's moving toward more what they would see as chaos. But in my supposition, it's actually moving towards a stasis. That all of these...
Well, isn't a stasis mean like an
equilibrium.
It doesn't mean like like a holding state, a state where things stop?
Yeah, well, they come into kind of an even fluidity with each other. And I think that's what stabilizes our ability to live in this reality, that we achieve kind of a stasis point within the universe. So that
do you think that different religious views and political views are ways of maintaining a psychological and spiritual stasis so that we're able to maintain a perspective until life comes along and upsets it, which eventually it always does? But religious and political views the goal of science is to transcend views. Science is about what is fact. It doesn't matter what you think. Mm-hmm. But when you get into the quantum, what you think does affect matter, and so that's a very mystical state, and science gets kind of blurry on those lines. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question is, do these different political and religious systems, do they hold us in a state that makes us feel solid, but until life comes along and upsets the stasis?
But it's a convoluted state. The stasis that they try to maintain is about control. It's about controlling not the chaos, but the inevitability of a system to try to achieve stasis, which is an equilibrium, which is a kind of an equanimity. And equanimity doesn't serve that faction very well, because what they want is polarity.
When you say they, what do you mean?
The religions, the politics, the people who like to be in charge rather than allowing evolution or that seeking of stasis, of equanimity, of equilibrium to take hold. They in fact like the chaos. They want to have the other. They want to have the factions that aren't, because that allows them to achieve and maintain power. Whereas stasis wouldn't have that that wouldn't be in there. Equilibrium, equanimity wouldn't allow for that. You can't have this and the other trying to manipulate.
But is it nature a struggle for power?
No, I think nature is our greatest idea of what stasis looks like. It's achieved its own equilibrium without we didn't have any input in it. I mean, we do now because we're
we're changing
it.
We're changing nature, yeah.
But nature, as we look at it, just look at the rocks around us, the erosion. It's going constantly. They say entropy. I say it's achieving equilibrium. You've got the wind, the water, the sun, all of the things that are affecting it, and it's creating this equanimity, this balance between what was, what is, what will be, whatever it is.
So for you, equanimity, stasis, and equilibrium are synonymous?
Yes.
Now that's not a general terminology used in quantum, though, right?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so, because I had not. Are you familiar with supersymmetry?
Yes.
Do you think that they're onto something, or do you think they're chasing ghosts?
Ghosts again. Because again, we're from where they started from.
Do you think, this is a question I've always wanted to ask you, and it always slips through the cracks. Einsteinian physics, in order for it to work, the mathematics have to go backwards as equal. And they seem to have found antimatter, where electrons that are doing the opposite of what are electrons. I think called positrons. But my question to you is, do you think that time can go backwards? Because in Einsteinian physics, for its model to go forward, it has to be able to equally go backward.
Well, they've already proven that it can. Through quantum physical experiments, they've actually shown that they can manipulate a recording that was done in the past through observation alone. Not that they did anything to the digital recording, but through observing it with a different ideological output, they actually changed an experiment in the past.
That's
And
that's very Buddhist.
They've recorded that, and that's on the quantum level. And the quantum level, like I said, there is no time, no space, no dimension. So there is no going forward or going backward. Here is the same as here,
And technically, that goes all the way to the edge of the universe,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the way to the CMB.
which we have no idea where it is. We have the edge of the universe that we can see. What we know of is the edge of the observable universe. We don't know if that's the edge of the universe. It's only the edge that we have the technology to be able to see. And if it is, and we know what it is, expanding at such an exponential rate through the dark energy, whatever they're going to label it this time. But light having a constant, a limit. There's a speed limit to the speed of light. So if it's expanding faster than that speed of light, which it is, there's parts of this universe that we'll never be able to see because the light will never get to us. So we have constraints on how big we can actually perceive the universe to be unless we get to a point where we realize that at the quantum level, there is no speed, there is no light, because there is no constriction at that level. Then we might be able to observe the entire universe, which I postulate is infinite and unobservable.
Infinite and unobservable.
We just don't have the technology to see what's really out there. Maybe sometime in the future, but what's the point to it, honestly?
Yeah.
Isn't it all about us anyway?
Yeah, well, looking inside is really what would
Exactly.
change everything.
See, when we were gonna get
humanity
anywhere.
is always looking out. So, on that, on infinity, we will leave it.
Keep looking infinity.
Infinity. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like us and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified for when we post new videos. We really would encourage you to ask any questions that you have. We would love to answer them and address them in any way possible. And we will talk to you soon. And remember, stay focused on the question.